All right, so we're going to start with this basic template on online GDB, and hopefully online GDB will cooperate today. So we are going to start by a simple program where we're going to have a diameter, and we're going to calculate the circumference of a circle. So you probably have done this before in the past a couple of times, but a really simple equation. So we're going to make sure that we have our include at the top that does our IO stream, which you should have when you start online GDB and you select C++ as your language. Make sure you have the using namespace std. This should be coming familiar to you because we've been doing it with all our programs, although it kind of does it for you, so you may not know this. But if you have that, that allows us to not put std on each line. And then we have to have the main function, and inside there, we're going to have at least return 0. The cout statement, hello world, you can get rid of that. So it should look like this. And then up at the top, you should put your name and today's date, the 12th. And then you could put, what is this program about? So you could put calculate circumference of a circle. And then go ahead and end your comment by putting the asterisk slash. And whether you jam it on the same line or you put it on a new line, it's really up to you. Whether you include enters between your comments and your actual preprocessors and you want one between your preprocessors and your actual main function, that's up to you. That's called style, and it doesn't really matter to me. So whatever works for you and looks nice. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to create a variable in our main function. So let's go inside our main function. That is going to be saved for the diameter. So we're going to ask the user for the diameter of a circle, and then we're going to use that to calculate the circumference. So if we want that to be a decimal number, what data type do we use?
Double.
Double, good. So we'll say double. If you want to call it D for diameter, or if you want to write it out, it's really up to you. Okay, then we need to take it in from the user, but we can't just do a CN and take in the diameter because they wouldn't know what to type. So we need to have some output that tells them what they're supposed to type. We call this, kind of like our label. Like it tells us like, okay, there's going to be a blinking cursor. What am I supposed to type? What data is coming in? So we do a cout, and we tell them exactly a description about what they should be typing in. So you could put diameter question mark, or you could put enter diameter. You could put a whole question form like this. What is the diameter of the circle? And you can put a question mark. However you want to word that is up to you. Now, if you choose to put end L at the end, then when they enter the data, it'll be on the next line. If you choose not to and you just end it with a semicolon, then it'll be on the same line. So it's really up to you, whatever one you want. And if you don't want to write in a sentence form, again, you could just put enter diameter. I think we know the diameter of a circle, enter diameter of a circle if you don't want to have it as a full sentence. Okay, and then we need to do CN, and the arrows go the opposite way. And we're going to take in the diameter. Now, whatever variable name you gave it up above, use that same name here.
I just have a small question about the decimals. So when I was doing the practice problem, or the rebels or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So for set precision, so when we want to let them type, we want just 2 decimals for whatever the data they're putting in.
Mm-hmm.
Can we put set precision whatever in there or not?
Not for the input, but for the output you can. They can type whatever they want for the input, but when it does the calculation and it gets a result, you get to decide how many decimals you want. So you'll get if they type 4 decimals, it'll use that in the calculation, but then which is good because then you'll get more precision, then it'll round it. If you say 2 decimals for the output, it'll round the answer, so you'll get whatever the clear answer is. But no, with the simple things we have right now, we can't force them to.
I was kind of confused because one of the questions in the Bravo was kind of so why you put it when you have a double in there and then for CI, and so I thought you have to put oh no, it's the set precision thing or something. But okay.
That goes in the output.
Okay.
Yes. If you show me the question later too, I can help you explain it to you. Yeah, so the input, they can type whatever they want. Now, if you say you're taking it as an integer, then it's gonna chop it to be an integer. So like if they type a decimal and it's taken as an integer, it's gonna chop it.
Oh.
But if it's a decimal, then they could technically type 16 decimal places if they wanted to. Now later when we output it, we will decide how many we want and we'll use that precision to determine how many is printed because we probably don't need 16 decimals.
Yeah.
But if they want to type 16 decimals, then technically they can. So, okay. I don't know why I'm off by a couple spaces. But, okay, so everybody clear so far? So far, so good? Okay, we need to know this for the rest of the fast. Okay, so we need to make sure that everybody's okay. So now that I have the data from the user, I have the circumference. I'm gonna or I have the diameter. I'm trying to figure out the circumference. I'm gonna take that diameter times 3.14. 3.14 represents pi. That's good enough. I think 3.14. I don't actually know beyond that, but you could type more if you wanted to. So we are going to create a variable called circumference. So we can say double circumference, and you can write out the word circumference. Or you can just put C if you want to, equals, and we're going to take the diameter. If you wrote out the word diameter up above, you have to write it out again. Multiply times 3.14. Again, you can abbreviate this if you want, CIR or C, if you don't want to write out the word. Just be careful, because if you are writing out the word, make sure that you spell it the same way each time, because that's tricky, you know, when you're writing long words, it's easier to get misspellings. And then whatever you used up here for for your diameter, when you declared it and when you said that you were taking in, make sure you use the same here.
What is slanting again?
What does that do?
What is the slanting? Slang?
The,
CRM?
oh, it's taking data. So it's like, yeah, in is the input and out is the output. So yeah, like C out is the output and C in is the input. And then the arrows have to go the other way. Make sure they go the other way. Okay, so 3.14 represents pi, so that's our equation for circumference. But if we were to run it, we wouldn't actually get the answer because it calculated it. It saved it in memory, but it did not display it. So the next step is to display it, right? And we do have to make sure that we put this line after we have the diameter, because if we put it before, it won't have the data for the diameter yet, and so won't be able to properly calculate the answer. So you'll get some sort of garbage answer. So just be careful that that comes after you get the data. You could have also, if you wanted to, you could have declared circumference, like you could have said double circumference up here, and then down here you could have just said circumference equals. But you can't say double circumference up there and then say double circumference again, so it would complain, because once you tell it that you have a variable, the name is circumference, and it's a double, you cannot say that again. Like you could say circumference equals and change the value in there, but you can't keep saying double circumference, double circumference. It's like, you already told me that, don't tell me again. You can't change data types for variables, so it doesn't like it when you keep declaring them. Declaring it means you tell it the data type, so you can't tell it the data type more than once. So always be careful that you're not overly just repeating double circumference throughout your program, if that makes sense to everybody. But where you put that is actually up to you. If you want to declare all your variables together, you could actually just put comma circumference here, and that means that it will also be a double. Or you could put another whole line that says double circumference. You don't have to, initialize it, because you're going to do that down here. That means give it a value. If you want to say like equal 0, you can. Some people do that, but it's going to get a value later. So that's why we didn't give it a value up there. Okay, so initialize it means give it a value. And because it's getting a value based on the equation, and this one's getting a value based on the input, we didn't put values in there up at the top.
So there's a contour stuff at the top, right, with the comma?
Mm-hmm.
Do we already still put the double?
No.
At the bottom?
No, you don't want to put the double. So if you want to put it up here, just let me show you. You would just do it like that. And then down here, you would take off the double. You would just say circumference equals. So you put your equation down there. And then again, if you don't like it like this, if this is confusing, you can also just put semicolon here and then say double circumference on the next line, semicolon. So you can do it separately like that. It's just that when you have the same data type, a lot of people will just put commas like that. So yeah, some people like to put their variables at the top, all of them. They don't like to declare them throughout their program. So that's kind of like a preference thing. If you like them at the top or you want them later, as you use them, you can declare them. You can declare them at the top. Just have to make sure you declare them before you use them. Everybody okay on this? So that's really up to you.
That one.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a math standard thing, like the SV has like a math thing
Yes.
that has like maybe a constant or
Mhm.
a better 3.1, I can't remember it either. but,
Yeah, there is a pi constant in
Like
there.
all the,
Yeah, I think it's, I can't remember how to use it. I think it's math.pi. Oh, at least it is in Java for sure. But I have to look.
so I defined it in the,
Yeah, in the math, all the math functions, there's a constant in there times that's pi. I don't know if it's, let me see. I'll have to look it up if it's not math times pi or math.pi.
a link to some website that's like the C++ guy.
Yeah, there's a constant. Yeah, I'll have to look up the constant later. But yeah, there is for sure. And I know it's math.pi in Java, but I'm not sure in C++ what that is. If you find it, can you let me know? All right, so then we are going to output it, right? And we're not just going to output the answer because we want to know what that answer is so that, I know you're already asking them what is the diameter, and they can see what they've typed in before. So now we just need to say like circumference and print that. I don't think we need to reprint the diameter. You can if you want to, but you probably don't need to reprint the diameter. So we'll do a CL and we'll do circumference. And then we'll put a nice little colon there. And then I want to print my circumference. Now I didn't do any precision on that. We'll do that in just a second. I want to make sure everybody is okay first before I do that. So this is the label. And this is the variable. Okay. And so that has to match the variable up there. However you want to word this is up to you. Like if you want to write it as a sentence, like the circumference is, and then print the circumference, or if you just want to write circumference colon, if you want to put circumference equals and then print it, however you want that to be displayed in your output is up to you. Just make it look nice, make sure that it has spacing and it looks good. But again, you don't probably need to print the diameter because you already have that here. So when we run it, you'll see what I mean.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
maybe
what I
you'll
get
see what
into.
I mean. It helps if I spell space right. Sorry. It hasn't been putting that on there, so I put it on there and I didn't spell it correctly. Sorry. What is the diameter of a circle? So you can put whatever you want. You can even put a decimal number if you want in there. And then it's going to give you the circumference. And again, this is on a new line because I put end line here and L. But if you wanted that on the same line, you take off the end L. And again, I don't think you need to print the diameter because it's right there. And you can change this. I just want to make sure everybody's with me. Enter the diameter. You can play around with this to be however you want it to look. So maybe you're not happy with that and you want to change it up. You can play around with this. I hope you're getting to a point where you feel more comfortable. Okay. That makes sense. Try a couple different numbers and see if it, is reasonable answers that you're getting. Okay. And then if we wanted to change the decimals, so see how we have 3 here. We could change that. And so what we would need to do is put in a C out and we put set precision. I normally use fixed, but you can use whichever one you like. If you want to use show point, the difference between show point and fixed is show point includes the integer numbers as well when it's counting how many, and fixed is just the number of decimals. And so remember that both of them will round. So like if you had 16 to the decimal number and you wanted 2 for fixed, it'll round those 2 for you. And if you do show point, it'll be based on how many whole numbers you have as well, how many you'll get. So some people like to have the same number of numbers counting whole and decimals. And then some people, it just matters how many decimals, doesn't matter how many whole numbers. So show point takes into consideration the whole numbers and fixed does not. It's just the same number of decimals for everything. And so if I did that again, see, I had 7.8. And if I do it again, it should give me, what did I do? Oh, I have to add the include. See, it's always good to test your programs, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you think you got everything and you don't. So man up. Sometimes we forget to put these preprocessors on there, it won't work. It tells me it doesn't know what that is. So either I misspelled set precision, which is a possibility, or I forgot to put my preprocessor at the top. So to make sure I put my preprocessor at the top, and then
One question.
did I do that's not supposed to be?
So what was the difference between fixed and show point?
Yeah, let me show you actually. So let me do this again. This should give you 2 decimals. So show point is I don't use it too often, but show point includes how many whole numbers you have. So like what fixed means like how many decimals. So it means like 2 means you want 2 decimals. But show point, if you said like 4 means you want, if you had 1 whole number, it would give you 3 decimals, gives you 4 numbers altogether.
Oh,
So, it keeps all the numbers the same. So like if you wanted 4 numbers across everything, show point would give you 4 the whole way down. So like if one number had, 2 numbers for the whole number, then it only get 2 decimals. And if it had 3, then it only get 1 decimal. So it includes the whole numbers, but fixed always gives you 2 decimals. Doesn't matter if you have
okay.
3 before, 2 before, 1 before. I don't use it too often, but yes. This one, that's just for looks. You can put equals there, you can put anything. It's just for how it looks in the output. That's just like how you want it to look. So do you want it to have a colon here? I like colons, so I put colon there. But if you like equals, that's just like what the answer is. It's basically saying the answer is, and I think that colon looks nice, like answer colon, then the data. But if you want to put equals, you can put equals, or you can write it in sentence form, like the circumference is, then put a space, then put the answer. The colon is just my choice. It doesn't register as far as like C++ doesn't care. Yes. Yeah, it's just a nice, I think it's like a nice bridge to like, if you say circumference and you don't put anything, you just put the number. To me, like you know how when you have a paper, usually it says like name colon, and then it has a line for you, like you're supposed to write your name on the line. It doesn't have to. It could say name and just have a line, and everybody knows to write their name. But normally, to me, like colon means something's about to come, like the data is gonna come. And if you don't, then it kind of just like loses its connection. But it's not a big deal. It's just that this. It doesn't have to be there. No, it doesn't matter output. But like if you don't, be careful because I think this doesn't look nice. So like if you put it like that and you don't put a space, I don't like this. I don't like that number up against the word. If you don't put a space here, you won't get a space here, and that kind of looks like garbage. Okay. But whether you put a colon or not, I mean, it's gonna at least have a space. I think it looks nice to have the colon, but I can read it. It's fine. It's just it doesn't have the like, it's kind of like the label without the colon. It's fine. But that's to me, it's fine. I would check that off. But if you put it and it's right up against, I'd probably take off a point because I don't like that when the number's up against the word. So you have to know, hey, that garbage or that output doesn't look nice. I need to fix that. Right. I mean, that's fine. But if it were up against the word, then I would probably take a point off because that's not, you can't read it, right? It makes it so that you pick how many decimals you want. Like if you're doing fixed, so like if you do set precision 2, you get 2 decimals. If you do show point, it includes the whole numbers, but like fixed doesn't include the whole numbers, always decimals. So you can change it to 3, 4, usually 2 is a popular number. Everybody good with this so far?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to save this, whatever way you like it, go ahead and download it. And then go ahead and save. And you probably want to give it a different name other than main. So this is where you can call it something like circumference. And if you have a flash drive, go ahead and put it on your flash drive. And hopefully that helps you to remember what it is and whether that would be useful. It does have the output precision. So if I asked you to do that, you have that as an example. It takes in some basic input. So it's a good example for that. What I want to do to it now, I saved it. I want to modify it a bit. I want to add a random number. So we practiced that the other day. So instead of asking the user for input for the diameter, I want that to be a random number. Okay, so we're going to modify it and then we'll save it again. So you'll have 2 versions of it. So if we're going to do the random number, before I forget, we're going to go up to the top and we're going to add another include. And we're going to say include CSTDLIB. Oh, not capital letters.
That's all one.
Say that again?
What is that for?
Oh, it's for the random number.
Oh,
So we're gonna do the random number. And then this sounds strange, but you'll get used to putting it in there. So we're not gonna ask the user for the diameter anymore. So we're gonna take out those 2 lines. We're gonna do this line that says S rand. And we're gonna put time, and then inside parentheses, we're gonna put 0. And we're just gonna put that on a line by itself, just so it's not confusing. What that does is it actually seeds a timer for us, so that when you do random, because we did RAND and parentheses, and that calls the random function, but it always generates the same number. Now, if you have a couple numbers, it always generates like 3 different numbers, but then if you do it again, it's always the same 3 random numbers because it's using the same seed, and so it always gets the same number. So we need to have a different one, and this will take us, I think it's milliseconds from like 1970. It'll keep, so basically every time you run it, you get a different number as a seed, and then that'll give you a different random number. It's a way to actually be random. So that makes sure that it's random. So every time we do RAND with the parentheses, that's a function, and it'll use that random seed. And so it'll make it work basically. So we want to make sure we put that in there. Then what we can do is we want to put the diameter variable, or yeah, diameter. We already have it declared up above, so we don't need to say double equals. We'll just say diameter equals. Then we have this equation from the other day. So we do RAND, parenthesis, parenthesis. I know this is strange, but you get used to it after you do it for a while. Modulus. And then you want to take 10 minus 1 plus 1 plus 1. And I want to explain that. So,
that's a 10 is the range.
yep.
the-
10 is the high, the max, and 1 is the min. So it would be a number 1 through 10, which is common, 1 through 10. If you want to do like 1 through 100, 1 through 50, like if I want to do 1 through 50, I could just change that 10 to a 50. You know,
And the plus 1 on the side of the parentheses, so always have to be 1 or.
no, that's the min.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
But we're just
Yeah.
recognizing.
No, the
0.
plus 1 on the inside the parentheses is 1, but the one outside is the min.
Oh, the one outside is oh, okay.
So I'm actually going to change it in a second so you can see it. So let's do this instead so everybody can see it. Let's create a variable up here called min, and I'm going to make it 1. And I'm going to create a variable called max, and I'm going to make it 10. Now, because these aren't going to change, technically they could be constants. So if you wanted to make them constants, you could say here, const, and then make this min. You don't have to. It's just that when things aren't going to change later in your program, it's common for you to see things like that. Like if they're, starting value and an ending value, that's not going to change. Now you could change it right here where you initialize it, but you just can't change it later through your program. Then a lot of people make those constants, and you don't have to. It does the same thing. It just stops someone from later saying min equals and changing it to something else.
Yeah, so the constant just doesn't change for the entire program when doing it.
Yeah, once it has a value, it doesn't change. Yep. If you don't put constant, then you can change it. But if you do, then you force people to not change it. Yeah. But it's not necessary, but it stops people from changing. What's that?
I think you were min, so. I think you were min.
Oh, min, you're right. Thank you. Thank you. I was just testing you out. No, I'm just kidding. We're having a lot of errors today. Yes. No, your book does random a different way. And so your book will do it a little different. I think this one's easier, but if you want to use the one your book has, that's fine too. No, but random's in chapter 3, but it's just they do it different. Okay. So it's a function too. And so the time is going to pull like January 1970, like how many milliseconds it's been from there, like when you put time 0, it's what's called seeding. It seeds that srand function, and then rand uses whatever srand has to do it. But if you don't put it in there, it just uses like the same constant value, and it always gets the, like if you here, let me show you. Well, I have to print my random number. Hold on. let me print my diameter so you can see what it is. Okay. So if I don't do this, then see, this is 4. This is 4. This is 4. That's not, I mean, that might happen the first couple times, but that wouldn't keep happening, right? That's a problem. It shouldn't be 4 every time. Oh no, the thing's gonna not work on me. Okay, it shouldn't be 4 every time. It's because it's using the same seed. And so this just kind of helps so it's using a different seed. It's using like milliseconds from a starting point, and that time 0 gives it the starting point. So that every random you use from that point on works. It gives you like a random number. If you don't do it, it just uses a constant and it doesn't work. It looks like it works, but then if you run it, it just keeps using the same number each time. So this just makes this actually random. If that makes sense. So then when I run it, hopefully, watch that before. Come on. Okay, I just by luck, right? 2, 4. If it did it again, I might just walk out for a second. So, you know, it's luck. So you might run it a couple times, it might be the same number, but it shouldn't happen 10 times in a row. That would be like really unusual, right? I probably should, I just wanted to test this, so I know it's run up against my number and or my word, and I don't like that. But that was just for testing purposes. I don't really want to print that. I just wanted to show you what that was doing. So it seems to be giving me like a random number for diameter. And I probably should print diameter, but I probably should print it nicely, because if I don't print diameter, then it is just going to give me, like, here I have it printed. But if I just leave this go, I'm just getting a circumference. I really don't know what the diameter is. I have to go back and figure that out. So the last time when I was asking them for a circumference, I had that printed on the screen, so I didn't need to print that because that data was already on the screen. But because I'm randomly generating it now and I'm not printing it in my C out, I don't know what it is, and so I'd like to print that as well. So I didn't need it before, but I should print it now.
Just a quick question. If
Yeah.
we want to have a decimal number in a random, on the random, if we put like double at the beginning?
Hold on just a second. Diameter.
We just
So the
add like a 0.00.
I think you don't want this. Hold on a second. Try something. You have to, the way this random works, you would need a different equation of somehow, but I don't know. Normally, I think it's going to be all integers. So I don't know if there's a different one. There might be a different one that does a decimal number, but this one does. Oh,
Let me try if we put like 0.00.
You just have 2 of them. Have one on either side of the list.
Okay.
so
No, it doesn't work.
no, I don't think that one does. There's probably one that does, that is a different random for decimal. But this one just does integers, I believe. So yeah, you can do any range, but it has to be integers. Okay, and then you just print your diameter because we don't know what it is otherwise. And then because it's random, hopefully if you keep running it, you'll get different answers. So go ahead and run it. It should be numbers between 1 and 10 though. So your diameter shouldn't be outside the range 1 through 10, hopefully. And if it is, then there's something wrong with our equation up there. And I actually put my min and my max, but I didn't change this. So I actually wanted to go change this so that it can change. So like I can make this max minus min, and then this is min. And then it should work. It should still work 1 through 10. But then if I want to change that max and min,
Oh, but you can't put the decimals, because you don't know. So you can try putting the decimals. Hmm?
this one, yeah.
No, I mean like the min or the max.
Oh yeah, you can try, I guess. I never did. I don't know. Let me try like 1.5. I don't, let me see. I mean,
Mhm. Something like
it might never, I don't think it's going to. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that.
that.
I don't know if it's gonna give me a decimal. So, but now that I fixed my equation, to have max and min, like this one stays the same, but this max here minus this min and then plus this min, what you can do is you can actually adjust these. I know that I said that they can't change later in your program, but the value that they're given to start with, of course, you can change. So like if you wanted to change that to be like 1 through 100, then it should automatically update with this, because now you have those variables instead of the number. You don't have to update your equation. Okay, and you can keep running it, see if you're getting numbers that are 1 through 100. And if you want to change it to like 1 through 50, and it doesn't have to be 1, that's just most people start with 1, but you could start and do like 10 through 20, or 5 through 50, whatever you want to do. You can try that, try different ranges with these two numbers. Try putting different numbers here and see if you get a diameter that's between that range that you have there. And if you don't, that's a problem. There's something probably wrong with this equation. Maybe you don't have this exact equation. So try that a couple different times with different min and different max. And then if you have that, another thing you can do to kind of challenge yourself to see if it's all making sense is you can try to add input from the user to say what is the min, what is the max for the random range, and take that in and then use that into these variables. And then that way the user can say this min, this max, and then it'll generate. It's kind of silly, but it's good practice. So take just like a minute or so, see if you can try to do that, and then you can save what you have. You want to call this one maybe something different, because this one doesn't have input from the user unless you added the extra part. So maybe call it like random circumference or something like that. So you know that this one has the random number, the other one didn't have the random number. So one program has input, the other one has random. Yes.
I had a question. What is the estimate of the rank in the line 13?
What is the, oh, it's a different function.
Okay.
So there's functions that C++ has that are already written for you. So like they have a square root one called like SQRT. It means like it'll do the mathematical equation for you. So like they have one that they wrote that if you give it like a value to start with, like time 0 is actually like pulls from the clock, it pulls the either seconds or milliseconds from 1970. And it'll send it to that function, and then that function will return this. It will help the random. Yeah.
Like same as random, like does it generate like a random number?
No, so then rand uses srand. So like if you put this, yeah, no, it's different. So this one like seeds, it's like a seeding rand. Like it's a way to give rand a actual random number. Because if you just use rand without putting that in there, then it always pulls the same number.
And what's like max minus min plus 1 in the bracket? Like
This, so these are the values up here. I could just put the numbers I wanted. Like this is the range of number you want.
That, but like, let's say minus 1 and plus 1 is gonna be like the same number. And right, bracket. Let's say if the max is 50, right? Minus 1 is 49, and then plus 1 is gonna be 50 again.
Yeah, it does. It gives it the right like equation to get the right number. So make sure that you're like also including that last number. So like if you say 1 through 10, it actually includes 10.
Yes.
Otherwise it stops at 9. Yeah. So it should give it a number in range, no matter what you use. Even if you want like a negative number, it doesn't happen too often. But if you were to put like your min as a -5, it'll still work with that equation.
Yeah.
So like then you'll get negative numbers.
And I was trying to switch it up instead of using the float. I was trying to use double. I mean, it didn't work. It didn't want to.
Which one?
And just instead of using int, I was using double.
Oh
That-
yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't working. It says-
Oh, you mean because when I put the, yeah. It doesn't, I don't think,
Yeah, it doesn't work on the board.
it doesn't like the decimals for for
I was
that.
trying
random.
to, but
Oh, yeah, I think I did put decimals into an int. I don't think I changed the data type. But, okay. All right, guys, so if you want to see that as random circumference, then you know that this is a practice with a random number option. So we had circumference, so we can call it like random circumference. Okay. I want to do a little bit more challenging program. I'm going to be a little bit of typing. So okay. We didn't do the change program, did we?
the one.
The change?
No.
Like the, okay. Sometimes I can't tell what I did in Java and what I did in C++. Thanks. All right, so let's go ahead and erase this. And we don't need the formatting or the random number for this. So we're gonna do a program. It's gonna ask the user for a number of change. So if they enter like 78 cents, it's gonna tell them how many quarters, how many
Oh, yeah, we did
dimes.
that
We did do that?
Yeah, we
Okay,
did that one.
see, all right. I wasn't sure. But we know that I didn't do the shortcut, right? So we didn't talk about the shortcut because I don't think we talked about that yet, right? Maybe I talked about it a little bit. Okay, never mind. Let's skip that. Because we did that. I wasn't sure if I did that yet. Okay, let's do, I didn't do a BMI calculator, did I? Okay, all right, we'll do that. What's that? I know, I have my own problems. I know when I do this, then I can go and think about, what I need to do. So we're gonna do, BMI calculator.
Height, the ratio of height and weight or something like that.
Yeah, it's
Weird.
really weird equation though, because we're working with like inches and pounds. So,
Oh,
yeah, because we never switched to B metrics, so it's a little odd. But what we're gonna do, I like this one because it has two inputs from the user, so we can really practice to make sure everybody's okay with like input and output. So what we wanna do is we wanna first have our variables at the top. And so we're gonna have a weight and a height, okay? So we can put double weight, and then you can put comma height if you want to. Those are the variables we're going to use for input. We're going to have a weight and we're going to have a height. So we're going to have to ask the user for their weight and then ask them for their height. It doesn't matter if you ask for their height first, then their weight, or their weight, then their height. Whatever you wanted to do. So we're going to do a simple cout statement. So it's like enter your height in inches. And then if you want to put a colon there, or a question mark, and it's up to you if you want to put an end line there, that means that that data that they type in will go on the next line. So it's really up to you. Or I like it on the same line, so I'll leave it there so I can see the data on one line. Then I need to make sure I take it in. So I need to do a cin. And then I want to save that into my height variable. And again, you could call this W and H if you want, but I think if you call it weight and height, there's no question about what it is. And then down here, I want another cout statement, and I'm going to say enter your weight in pounds. And whatever you did up above, just stay consistent. If you didn't put an end line up there, don't put one down here. And then cin statement, we're going to do a weight variable. Okay, so hopefully this is starting to make sense. So whatever you think you need to enter, and so there's no confusion, I put in inches so that people don't enter like feet, because if they do like, 5 point something, then it's not going to work, right? And then pounds, I wanted to make sure nobody was questioning what unit of weight we're using. So we have our data from the user for height and our data for the weight, and that was declared up here. Is everybody okay so far? Perfect. All right. So then what we want to do is we want to go down below, and we want to do an equation. And so this equation is a little unusual. So I do need to create a variable to store it into. So I could create a BMI variable. I can either add that up here, like I could put BMI, whoops. Or I could put it down here. It doesn't matter. I could put double BMI. So you can always, like, every time you have a variable, just go up there and add it to your list if you want to. So we'll just say BMI equals, since I did put it up there. This we need some parentheses for. So I like this one because we talked about like parentheses and we talked about order of operations. So we're gonna put in parentheses weight, whatever you named your weight variable, times 703. This is a very unusual equation because we are using inches and pounds, divided by, and then we're in parentheses, we're gonna put height times height. Okay. Okay, and now we have this equation. Make sure you have parentheses around this part and then around this part, because if you don't, it'll do it a different order. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna take the weight times 703, since that's in parentheses. So whatever you enter for your weight, it's gonna multiply that times 703. It is optional whether you wanna have space here or not. Then it's gonna multiply the height times height. And then whatever answer it gets from this and here, it will divide the two. But if you take off the parentheses, what'll happen is it'll multiply these. That'll happen first anyways, but then it'll divide that number by height and then it'll multiply it times height and you'll get a different answer. So I guess not really necessary to have the first set of parentheses because that's going to happen anyways. But it's going to be a problem if you don't put the height times height in parentheses because it's going to want to divide. It's going to want to divide this number by this instead of this whole thing. Okay. Then we want to print out the answer. So we're going to do a cout statement. I like to repeat what's going on. So what data? I already have their height and weight printed on the screen. So I don't think I need to repeat what their height and weight is because it's already on the screen. And so let's just put BMI equals or BMI colon. And then you can put the BMI variable. You can put end line if you want, but that's the next thing, you know. So that's a body mass index. It tells you like there's a range for like what you're supposed to be, and you know, when we get to conditionals, we can take the same program and we can add conditionals that say like if we're in range, out of range, that type of thing. And so it makes it a little more interesting because in the next chapter we're going to talk about like decisions and like if this is true, do this, otherwise do this. Right now we can't. We just have to look at it ourselves and determine what it is. But in the next chapter, C++, we'll let it determine. So it'll print one message if something's true and print another one if not. And so it becomes a little more exciting because we can do more with it instead of just like calculating equations and printing answers. We can actually make decisions on answers. What's that? What is what? Oh, that takes in the data. That's like the input. So think input. So cout is output, cin is input. So like if you want to write, I have to answer this question first. So you can make up data. You don't have to put your real data, right? So of course I am like not putting my real data. Right. So put whatever you want, and then you can look up the range if you want to. Like I said, later we'll put our own messages in here in the next chapter. So we'll make this a little more interesting. If you want to go through your program, this is completely up to you. Like I don't take off if you don't do this, but anytime you want to like remember something, like if you want to make a note to yourself, a way to take notes, like, you know, when we're going through like content, you could take notes on paper, but in your program, if you want to take notes, so when you go back and you're looking at it for like your checkpoints, you want to remember why you did something, you can put a / after that line and you can write anything you want. I'll just ignore it when you turn it in. If I'm not collecting this, but if you want to put like, why did you use 703? I don't know why, because, you know, but if you wanted to write the reason, because we're using pounds and inches, you know, if you want to write something about your equation, you can write that here. You know, I think that's pretty obvious that it's an equation. But if you want to write something like, if you wanted to write like the order in which it completed it, like first you multiply this and you want to write like a little paragraph in there, you can do that if you want to. So just put your comment after each line that you think would be helpful. And sometimes it's helpful in your preprocessors to put comments that say, like when we were using the random one, maybe for the random preprocessor, you want to put like a comment that says used for random numbers, so that when you're going back and you're looking at your exercises and you're not sure which preprocessor does the random, you don't have to add like all 5 of them because you're not sure which one. if you put a little comment on there, I think everybody knows IOStream by now. You could put like on each one, if you're not sure, use for input and output, right? And if you keep doing that on each one, then you'll know, do I need this or don't I need this? That way it kind of helps. I probably should have did that in the last program. But if you want to go back and add any comments in your programs that kind of help you, so that way when you pull it up later, you know why you did something. So if you're looking at it as a reference, you're like, why did I do that? Or what does this do? What does this line do? Why do I have this preprocessor in here? Then hopefully that helps. So I think I have, let me see, I can pull it back up. So for this one, if I wanted to, I could put like this one was used for random numbers. This one's used for formatting. So then if I need to format, like if I wanted to go back to the program I had here and I wanted formatting, I could copy and paste that. And you could copy and paste from programs too when you're doing like your checkpoint. So like if I want to just paste this in here, this one's used for formatting, and I want to format that BMI so that I don't get this long decimal number. I just want to have a certain decimal. Then I can go back in here. See, maybe I want a little comment here that says format to decimals. Something to remind you. And so like, oh, I want 2 decimals. Let me take that. And then before I print it out, I need that line. So hopefully that helps remind you, this is before the printout. It needs to be before. If it goes before your equation, it's okay, but it just needs to be before your printout. And so then I will just put that right in here. And then that will help me not get that. What did I do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Multiple definitions. I don't. Anyone see something I did that doesn't like? All I did was add this and this. He doesn't like it, right? Oh, because I have 2 files open. It doesn't know which one to run.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's the problem.
Yeah, it thinks they're related and it has 2 mains. So I'm gonna just, okay, I'm gonna get rid of that one. And then I should be able to have, it doesn't know which one because they both have a main. It doesn't know which one to run. So it doesn't like them both open. Okay, so then I can do whatever I want in here, and I only get 2 decimal places, right? That makes sense to everybody? Do you have a question? Yeah, I can look at it. So what I want you to do, we have a little bit of time left. I want to see if this is making sense for everybody, and I can go back through the answer. I want you to try to do this one on your own and see how easy it is for you. So we are going to do convert Fahrenheit to Celsius. And so what we're going to do is we're going to ask the user for the Fahrenheit. And then we're going to do calculate. This is just like my pseudocode. The Celsius. Okay, this is the equation. So it would be something like C equals whatever you get for Fahrenheit minus 32 divided by 1.8. So that's so you can have it. I cannot. And then display results. So you would display, because you're asking them for the Fahrenheit, you probably don't need to display the Fahrenheit, but you just need to display the Celsius with a nice little label so that they know, okay, this was the Fahrenheit, this was the Celsius. So see if you can get that to work. And I can help anyone that got stuck. Then we can go over it together, make sure everybody got that. So this will kind of tell you if everything is kind of making sense.